Well, looks like the pension stuff is back in our faces again. And this is honestly how bad this is. And again, most states are under 1%. 1% of what? Zero hedge. This $700 billion public employee ticking time bomb is only 6.7% funded. By the way, most states are under 1% funded. Now let me ask that question. Even at the assumed rate of 8%, if we're at 8% and we make 8% every year, then it's funded. Even if it's at 8%, there's not a chance in hell these things could have been funded. You're not going to tell me the $700 billion public employee taking time while getting a pension is only 6.7% funded. It's that far, 94 or whatever percent unfunded. What? Again, zero hedge. We've spent a lot of time of late discussing the inevitable public pension crisis that will eventually wreak havoc on global financial markets. And while the scale of the public pension underfunding is unprecedented, with estimates ranging from $3 to $8 trillion, there is another taxpayer-funded retirement benefit that has been promised to union workers over the years that puts pensions to shame, at least on a percentage-funded basis. Other post-employment benefits, or OPEB, like pensions, are a stream of future payments that have been promised to retirees primarily to cover healthcare costs. However, unlike pensions, most government entities don't even bother to accrue assets for this massive stream of future costs, resulting in $700 billion of liabilities that most taxpayers likely don't even know existed. As a study from Pew Charitable Trust points out today, the average OPEB plan in the U.S. today is only 6.7% funded, and that's if you believe their discount rates. So probably figure about half that amount in reality. And many states around the country are even worse. States paid a total of $20.8 billion in 2015 for non-pension worker retirement benefits, known as other post-employment benefits, again OPEB. Almost all of this money was spent on retiree health care. The aggregate figure for 2015, the most recent year for which complete data are available, represents an increase of $1.2 billion, or 6%, over the previous year. The 2015 payments covered the cost of current year benefits, and in some states included funding to address OPEB liabilities. These liabilities, the cost of benefits in today's dollars to be paid in future years, totaled $692 billion in 2015, a 5% increase over 2014. In 2015, states had $46 billion in assets to meet $692 billion in OPEB liabilities, yielding a funded ratio of 6.7%. The total amount of assets was slightly higher than the reported $44 billion in 2014, though the funding ratio did not change. The average state OPEB funded ratio is low because most states pay retiree health care benefits on a pay-as-you-go basis, appropriating revenue annually to pay retiree health care costs for that year rather than pre-funding liabilities by setting aside assets to cover the state's share of future retiree health benefit costs. State OPEB funded ratios vary widely, from less than 1% in 19 states to 92% in Arizona. As Figure 1 shows, only 8 have funded ratios over 30%. These states typically follow pre-funding policies spelled out in state law. Many of them also make use of the expertise of staff from the state pension system to invest and manage plan assets. So the same jokers who are in charge of the pensions, come on. I'm sure this will end real well. You could already tell by the title, it certainly won't. Looking at the problem on a relative basis, you find that several states have accrued net OPEB liabilities totaling in excess of 10% of the personal income generated within their borders. Pew compares states' 2015 OPEB liabilities with 2015 state personal income to show these liabilities in relation to the potential resources that states could draw on to cover the liabilities. The major ratings agencies and other financial research organizations commonly use personal income as a metric to illustrate untapped revenue sources and as an indicator of how flexible states can be in meeting their obligations under changing budget conditions. The research shows significant overall reported OPEB liabilities, but the relative size varies widely. The primary driver for the variation in OPEB liabilities is the difference in how states structure healthcare benefits for retirees as a percentage of personal income. The liabilities range from less than 1% in 16 states to 16% in New Jersey. Alaska, which has the highest ratio of liabilities to personal income at 42%, is a clear outlier among the 50 states because of generous benefit levels that can reach up to 90% of premiums for some retired workers. States that provide eligible retirees a monthly contribution equal to a flat percentage of the health insurance coverage premium report the largest liabilities and could face the greatest financial challenges because their costs automatically increase as plan premiums do. Conversely, those states with fixed dollar premium subsidies provide a smaller benefit and report lower liabilities. Their exposure to healthcare cost inflation is also lower because a fixed dollar subsidy does not rise with the plan premium. Lastly, the states that only provide access to a retiree health plan with no subsidy have the lowest liabilities as a percentage of reduced premium, as a percentage of personal income. Although these plans do not make an explicit monthly premium contribution to retirees, many offer retirees a reduced premium through a group rate, which is an implicit subsidy. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board, the private independent organization that sets accounting and financial reporting standards for U.S. state and local governments, requires plans to recognize these implicit subsidies in a financial in a plan financial reporting. Let's look at the state. Where's old Florida? Florida up in here? That's Florida. Pablo, honey, please come to Florida. Florida's way down there. Liability. Anyways. Meanwhile, the cost increases of healthcare premiums seem to massively exceed inflation and or wage growth year after year. In contrast, a number of states with higher premium contributions, including California and New Jersey, reported significantly greater liabilities beginning in 2014, reflecting increases in assumed future costs. California's plan actuary attributed 7.1 billion of the state's 7.9 billion liability increase to changing demographic assumptions to account for longer retiree life expectancy in that year. New Jersey's 2014 hike included a 5% increase in liabilities caused by changes in its mortality assumption. Again, all assumptions, of course. And a 9% jump linked to changes in healthcare cost assumptions. For states with the largest year-over-year change in OPEB liabilities, changes in assumptions were the largest driver, of course, in increasing costs. But we're sure it's okay. It's not as if there is a massive wave of baby boomers that are about to retire and ask for these benefits to be paid anytime in the near future. And let's take a little look at this chart. Projected U.S. population growth, percentage change from 2012. 2012, 15, 20, right? These are all years, 2025, 2030. So just over the next several years, age 65 and up, age 85 and up, total population. But you can see, again, these two, especially 65 and up, that's the you know, remember how old Lindsay was told, watch China, China's the big one. Well, I've got one for you. This orange reddish line, watch that one, age 65 and up, that's the big one. And again, 2012, 15, 20. How is all this going to get paid for? I think we can start to see why Donald Trump said, look, we just need to go ahead and get rid of the whole debt ceiling stuff. Oh, we have this debt ceiling fight every couple years or whatever. We raise it, then we always raise it. We always raise it. It never is not getting raised. Just do away with it. We don't need a limit. And again, with this kind of stuff and all the other liabilities and things that we have, we are spending like drunken sailors. The debt's increasing. Oh, but the Federal Reserve, which is a video I've got to do. Wall Street, the Fed is on a mission. The quantitative easing unwind, the $4.5 trillion balance sheet unwind, starts October 1st. Rate hike, another rate hike in December. Low inflation, no problem, he says. That's another video. I'm thinking I might just do that one next. Let me scoot it over here, put it in order, because I think I want to talk about that next. How is all this going to get paid for? How is the debt? How is the interest we're paying on the debt? It never goes down. It just keeps going up. How does this end? Someone tell me, how does this end? Oh, I'll just keep kicking the can. You can only kick the can so far. When you can't make the payment, that's when things get really, really interesting. And now they're going to unwind the $4.5 trillion on their balance. Who the hell's the banks they flush with money or something? They got a ton of money to go buy back the garbage that the Fed bought from them in the first place? Oh, we're going to buy it back now. Oh, that's all good stuff. You're going it back. No, the Fed got the garbage off your books. And remember Bernanke? Bernanke said that by 2015 or 16, way back when, here's our balance sheet. It's ballooning. But and I think it may have been 2016 January. Here's what our model shows of we'll be back down to normal. 500 billion, 600, 700 billion, not 4.5 trillion. That's normal. And then it came and went. Nope. It's 4.5 trillion. It's still 4.5 trillion. Bernanke, what happened? So he was talking not too long ago, and I mentioned this in my video at the time. Bernanke says, maybe unwinding it we don't need to do. Maybe we should just keep it up there. We don't need to unwind it. Maybe it'd be a good idea to just keep it high like that. Why do we need to bring it back down? Bernanke, buddy, what happened? It's amazing. You showed us this chart of it getting unwinded. Everything's gonna be fine. Now it's not fine. Fine. And you said you had all these tools. Remember, we've got more tools in the toolbox. The Fed has more tools in the toolbox if needed. What do you call that? You used the tool to put that out there, 4.5 trillion. Now you need a tool to take it off, and I don't think you got the tool to take it off. It's not coming off. It can't. If it does, I will say this: if they start to show us, hey, they've unwinded, it's 4.2 trillion, it's now 3.8 trillion, it's coming down. I'm gonna have to ask who the F is buying this? Where is it going? You're unwinding. Who's buying it? Maybe we have another currency swap deal with other countries, and they're somehow offloading that crap over there. I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but they bought trash from the banks. That's their balance sheet now. Now they're going to give it back to who? Who's going to buy it? A turd is a turd. If I hand you a turd, you still own a turd. The turd doesn't turn into a magical gold nugget. It stays into a dark doo-doo turd nugget. It stays. And when you give it back or unwind your balance sheet, you're giving me back a turd. I don't want a turd. I'm a bank. I want only good assets. And I had some bad ones, and I gave them to you. I don't want that back. So again, I will ask, who the hell's going to buy it? That's what I have to know. Anyways, take video.